Hey friend, have you ever been at a sporting event, having a great time, taking some innocent photos, making great images, when all of a sudden a parent gets in your face? Well, it's happened to me a couple times. I'll tell you those stories when I get back. Story time. So there I was at a sporting event, minding my own business, taking some photos, relaxing and chilling, having some fun, when all of a sudden Debbie Downer shows up, starts asking me all these questions. Who are you? Who do you work for? What are you taking photos of? Why are you here? Who are you taking photos of? When I was finally able to speak, I explained to her who I was, what I was doing there, and that I was allowed to be there. And she seemed okay with the answers, went back to her seat and sat down. I got back to business. Now, this was at a girls' volleyball game in high school. And what happens is, if you're a male photographer, at least I haven't heard of this happening to any female photographers, if you're a male photographer, parents are really watching you, especially when you're shooting the girls, the younger girls. And if you've seen volleyball players and what they wear, obviously I can see the concern, but as a photographer, I'm there to get the action and to shoot the shots and make some great images. I'm not there for anything else. I have no other agenda on my mind. I bring this up because it is a real issue when you're shooting younger females and sometimes even the younger boys. You will get the parents who will get in your face and start asking you all kinds of questions. Another time I was at a USSSA softball tournament. This was a girls softball tournament. The age of the team I would happen to be covering was 10-year-olds. So I had a parent come up to me, a lot more calm this time, with a little more respect, and asked, the basic questions, who I was working for. And we talked for a little while, and at the end of the conversation, the individual actually asked me, well, where's the website? Where can I take a look at some of these images when you're done? And I decided to make this video because of a discussion that was going on in a Facebook group for sports photographers that I belong to. And what had happened was, here's the story from the secondhand that I got it from. There was a male photographer. He was shooting a gymnastics event, and he was hired by a father to take photos of his girl in gymnastics. And during the event, a male figure comes up to him and says, hey, what are you doing? So he explains what he's doing. He says, please don't take photos of my child. And the photographer says, I was hired by such and such to do this. And the guy looks at him and says, well, I'm the father of the child. And it turns out the individual who contracted the photographer was actually a neighbor, not even related to the child that was getting the photos taken of. Now, I know I don't really need to do this, but it seems like everybody always does. And then when they're about to talk about legal stuff, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that you do have First Amendment rights as a photographer. And consequently, if the images are taken in a public place and used for editorial purposes, you're well within your rights to do what you want with these images. Doesn't matter the age of the kid involved. Now, there are a couple states that have kind of modified that just a little bit, so you may want to double check in your state to see exactly what is going on. These stories are part of the reason I started my own website, smalltownsportsnetwork.com. That way I had an editorial reason for being at these games and taking images. So anybody ever came up to me, I can point them right to the website, and it usually shuts them up pretty quickly, and sometimes I can make some sales along the way. I haven't been approached a lot, but when I am, I can point the parents to my website and they see that this is legitimate. I actually am there for a purpose. I'm not just there taking photos of kids just for fun. I'm there because I want to, talk about the game, report on the game, and have some images for sale. Getting media credentials is something I highly suggest for everybody. That way you are more legitimate. You're not just some guy out there taking images of children, and it will calm parents down a lot, and they will not be quite as aggressive, which some of them can get pretty aggressive. If you're not sure how to get media credentials, check out this video right here. It will help you on your way to becoming a certified media credentialed sports photographer. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and don't forget, grab your cameras and get out and shoot.